All right, folks, we got a doozy on our hands here. 12.3 grams of Na2CO3 reacts with 2 liters of HCl gas. Cool. Now, these are 2 of my reactants. I know that because they are on the left side of this arrow. These are my reactants, these are my products. So this is going to be broken down into various questions. So this one is, how many liters of CO2 are produced based on the given amount of reactants? I'm going to put a box around CO2. That's where I am. That's my finish line. That's where I'm trying to get to. Okay. Whew, this is going to take a while. So these questions, each section probably takes about 5 to 10 minutes. 5 if you're flying. This will probably, you can tell from the recording, will probably end up taking me almost 10 minutes, maybe even more. You also need a huge amount of space, potentially. If it's asking you for grams, you need a bunch of space. So I am actually just going to make an entire separate section of my space. So my answer is going to be up in here, but all my work is going to be done down here. And what I mean by this is how I have to calculate certain things. Okay? These problems are tough, guys. Super tough. They're just long-winded. So, and we'll run into our first road bump right here with our guns. All right, given. What's my given? Well, let's go back to the equation. Oh man, it gives me 2 numbers. Well, which one do I choose? It doesn't matter which one you start with, but you're gonna have to do 2 different equations. And we're gonna have to do 2 different equations to see which one makes the least amount of CO2. It doesn't matter. And what I like to do, this is really complicated looking. Let's say, this is sort of guiding us. This is telling us, hey, just to ease your brain, we'll tell you what to start with. Start with this one first, okay? So this is the one I'm going to start with, and that's right here. And I'm going to get rid of everything else just for this part of the question so I don't get confused. So this is the one I'm starting with. I'm circling because that's where I'm starting. And I am going to cross out everything else. Just makes it way less confusing. Cool. So now my screen is nice and neat. I've got the 2 things that I want. Now I'm going to use my mole map. I am starting with what? Grams. So that's mass. So we can get in the habit of circling where we're starting. And what am I trying to get? Liters. Here's volume. Here's liters. I'm trying to get all the way up here. Here's my roadmap. This step, 1 step, 2 step, 3 full steps. That's going to take up quite a bit of space. All right, so now let's go ahead. Let's get started. My given, write it over 1. 12.3 grams over 1. Nice. I already have a 20% on this problem, and I haven't even had to think yet. All right, what's my mole map tell me to do? It tells me to, right here, it says write 1 mole on the top. Cool, I can do that. 1 mole of X, which is the thing you're starting with, so Na2 CO3. Sorry, my handwriting's so messy with this pen. And then on the bottom, it's telling me to put grams of Na2CO3. Well, how many grams are there in 1 mole? Well, this is where I got to use my periodic table. So let me get my setup in my work section. So Na, I have 2 of them. I'm going to multiply that by the mass. And I don't know what the mass is yet. I'm going to use my periodic table. Right now I'm just getting set up. Then I have C. I've got 1 of them. And I'll have to multiply that by its mass. And then I have oxygen, and I have 3 of them. I have to multiply that by its mass. And then I'm going to have to add all it up, and it's going to give me a number in here, and this is going to be the number I plug in. So first thing we got to do is get that pesky periodic table out. All right, so my first thing is Na, so 22.99, 22.99. 22.99. All right, C, I believe I've used it so many times. I believe it's 12. Yep, I'm going to keep it at 12 right there. That's laziness. Do you see that? Where I'm just going to say 12.0. That's just a little bit of laziness. I'm just going to round it. No, I'm not going to be lazy. 12.01 is what I'm going to put in. 12.01. It's always round to the hundredths place. And then oxygen, I have 3 of them, and this one might be exactly 16. 15.99. I am going to be lazy on this one. I'm going to put 16. Great. So let's see, what is 2 times 22.9? Let me get my calculator up so you can see exactly how I got it. 2 times 22.99. Alright, so 45.98 here. Alright, 1 times 12 is just 12. And then 16 times 3, let's get my calculator back up. Clear everything. 16 times 3. 48. Alright, so I got 48. Okay, now I have to add all three of those together, and that's going to give me my number. I plug in there. So 48 plus, let me move this a little bit, 45.9, 45.98. So I'm just adding it to this one. Now I'm going to add it to this one, plus 12.01. So here's my number, 105.99. grams. Well, now I know what to plug in here. 105.99. Okay, great. Now I am here. My units cancel out, and I'm left with, I am in moles of here. Moles of my X. Alright, next step. So I'll put 2. So step 1, step 2, and here's step 2. It's telling me put the moles of things I have on the bottom. So Na2, CO3 on the bottom, and moles of what I'm looking for on the top. In this case, it is CO2. Right, across everything else I need, it says right here in the question, how many liters of CO2? That's the product I'm looking for, so I'm going to put moles of CO2. And I have to fill in numbers right here. I get this from my balanced equation. All right, so how many moles is it telling me? There's no number, so 1. And for Na3, there's no number, so 1. Great. Continuing on. Now I am here. I've now converted into moles. I know that I am at this step because look, this cancels out. This cancels out. I am now in moles of my Y. In this case, it's CO2. Great. So now I am at my last step. It's telling me to do this. All right. It's saying, right, 22.4 liters on the top. Can do. This is nice because it's telling me the exact number. Liters CO2 on the top. And then on the bottom, it's telling me to write 1 mole of CO2. Sweet. Okay. And now I am at my finish line. So now I have to do this math. So I'm going to multiply this entire top, get an answer, multiply the entire bottom, get an answer, and then divide. I recommend doing it that way so you don't make an order of operations error. So let's see, what do we have? I got 12.3 times 1, right, times 1, so I'm not going to put it in, times 1, not going to put it in, times 22.4. Alright, and that equals a number, 275.52. I'm going to write that down. 275.52. Great. Now, I'm going to do the bottom. If you're really good with a calculator, you can do this all in one step, but let's do it this way for now. See, I got 105.99. Let me type that in. 105, oops, 105.99 times 1, no, times 1, times 1 times 1, so it's going to be 105.99. Alright, let's do that math. 275.52 divided by that, 275. 52 divided by 105.99 is that's going to be my answer. I'm going to round it to my hundredths, so it's going to be 2.60. 2.60. And truthfully, I forgot my units, so I can just go ahead and back check. Okay, cool. These mole and mole cancel out, so I'm left with liters of CO2. I can also check back in my question. It says how many liters of CO2. So 2.60 liters CO2. Whew, this is how much can be made. This is my final answer? I don't know. I'm only halfway there after this whole other thing using our other reactant. So as you can see, these are really time consuming. Looking at my little timer on this video, it took me 10 minutes and 43 seconds to get here. And that's kind of knowing what I'm doing. So this is going to take you an extraordinarily long amount of time. Be patient. Try and get fluent in the process, not in perfection, right? If you mess up one of these, the setup is really important. So I would focus on the setup. I don't know, maybe I did my math wrong here, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe I just made a simple mistake, but the setup is good. So let's just say I did get this wrong. That means out of a 10-point problem, I got a 9 or 8 or 9 because I missed a point for the wrong setup here and for the wrong answer. But I got all my units, no naked numbers, got all my units. Everything else looks okay.